Security forces in Russia have detained over 4,000 anti-war protesters across the country. The figure is from an independent protest monitor. Police arrested people in several Russian cities, including Moscow and St. Petersburg. They warned that organisers and participants in demonstrations will face charges. Authorities have imposed restrictions on protests citing the COVID-19 pandemic. And we're now joined by Konstantin Eggert, DW's Russia Affairs analyst, who joins us from Vilnius. How effective could protesting be given the large number of detentions we're seeing in Russia right now?
Oh, good morning. I think that these protests are very significant because they continue for days running now. At the same time, the numbers of protesters are fairly small for 140 plus million country. So it is still not a massive movement, not even something that could be compared to the anti-Putin protests of 2011, 2012. But there is one significant thing, I think, and it is the geography rather than the numbers of detained, although they are big. And alas, these people are going to get probably this time much harsher treatment than usual. It is the fact that Russia only has, I think, 18 or 19, off the top of my head, cities with a million population or more. That's where the internet is, that's where information is better, that's where there is more education, so forth. Now the geography of the protest is about 50 cities. That means that even in Russian province, there is now a gradual recognition that things are going wrong and that the government essentially is lying to them. And that is significant because in a smaller place, the effect of a rally is much bigger because, well, I mean, I wouldn't say everyone knows everyone, but the information about this, the effect of it, public effect, is much more significant. But I think that probably this is still not something that shakes Putin's foundation. Mm-hmm. However,
okay, so the information is getting through, but tell us about this Russian state polling agency that's pointed out that Vladimir Putin's approval rating in Russia has risen to 70%. What do you make of that number?
The polls are unreliable in Russia. Many people lie to the pollsters because there is, after Russia's 20th century revolution, civil war, 2 world wars, gulag, people tend to understand that the authorities may be listening. So yeah, they frequently tell the pollsters what they think the government would like to hear. Secondly, frankly speaking, in current circumstances, I wouldn't be surprised that any polling company, probably apart from one, all of them are this or that way controlled by the government or feel government pressure. They will probably be ready to give figures that reflect what the government wants to hear. I wouldn't bet on reading these polls. I'm sure, though, that those people that watch state television, for example, are definitely seeing a different picture. Yeah, and they definitely they definitely think that Putin is wrong.
On the military front, the US and Poland have been discussing the delivery of fighter jets to Ukraine. How likely is that to happen? I mean, would it be a sign of NATO's direct involvement?
Well, that's what Putin says. He said that weapons deliveries will be a hostile act, and actually said also closing the skies, introducing a no-fly zone, will be seen as an act of war. But I think that things are gradually moving in this direction. Ukraine has quite a big number of people who can be fighter pilots, including those who recently retired. My understanding is that this may be on the table very soon, just as, by the way, a refusal to buy Russian oil by, say, the United States. I think that maybe the energy weapon, the energy super weapon, if you wish, is probably next on the agenda.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. These developments are fast-moving. Konstantin Eggert, thank you very much for bringing us your analysis. Well, large crowds also gathered across Europe and the US over the weekend to protest against the Russian invasion. Demonstrators took to the streets of Barcelona in Spain. In the Swiss city of Geneva, a crowd sang the Ukrainian national anthem. In New York City, thousands converged on Times Square to show their support and demand measures from NATO. Here's a look at some other developments in the conflict. Several Western countries, including the US and UK, have called on Interpol to immediately suspend Russia from the network, according to a tweet from the British Home Secretary. The countries cite the threat to public safety posed by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Interpol is a network of 194 countries which facilitate the policing of international crime. The UN nuclear watchdog says it's concerned about reports that communications have been disrupted at Ukraine's largest nuclear power plant. Russian soldiers took the Zaporizhzhia facility on Friday after shelling it and have reportedly turned off its internet and telephone lines. Reliable communications are critical to safety. The social media company TikTok is suspending the posting of videos from Russia. This comes after Moscow passed a law introducing jail terms of up to 15 years for publishing what it calls fake news about the army. TikTok says it needs to keep its employees safe.